Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality back with you here today to go over an article that I found on good old redstate.com from March 30th. And it is WH's in White House refuses to rule out confiscation of guns in concerning remarks. So let's go see what our stupid White House is planning on doing now. Oh, look who it is. It says, in the wake of the shooting at the Christian school in Nashville, Joe Biden is going all in to try to go after guns. Of course he is. It's been like his life. When he spoke about the shooting, he made it clear that he had no idea what he was talking about when it comes to guns, claiming that an AR-15 bullet blows up once it's inside the body. Yeah, I don't know anything about guns, and I know that's just not a thing for at least that type of gun. Then he also revealed he had no idea what the laws are when it comes to guns. He claimed that machine guns and automatic weapons were illegal, and they aren't, although they are restricted or have special requirements to get them. He also said you couldn't own a flamethrower when indeed you can order one on Amazon. Yeah, I knew that. This is the guy who's now trying to impose edicts about guns. It's always fun. The people who seem to be the most adamant about gun control happen to know the least about guns. So yeah, let's put those people in charge of doing this. Then the article goes on, says the White House is saying the quiet part out loud, and they aren't being shy about it, as White House Press Secretary Cringe Jean-Pierre revealed during her briefing on Wednesday, so the Wednesday before March 30th, which I want to say was actually the 29th, says this makes it very clear what their intent is. Says a reporter brought up to Jean-Pierre that in the last presidential race in 2020, one of the Democratic candidates said he would come for AR-15s. Oh, I believe that was good old Beto, as in try to, confiscate them. Said the reporter, yep, there it is. The reporter was referencing Beto O'Rourke, who said, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. Then Joe Biden talked about O'Rourke taking care of the gun problem with me and said, you're going to be the one who leads this effort. Where's Beto now? He doesn't exist in the government anymore because the guy's failed time upon time upon time again to basically do anything because he sucks. So the reporter asked if Joe Biden supported not just banning the sale and manufacture of semi-automatic weapons, but further than that, confiscation. That should have been a simple answer if you're against confiscation, but it wasn't for Jean-Pierre. So from a thing linked from Town Hall, which is another conservative site, reporter said, does the president support not just banning the sale and manufacture of weapons? Okay, and KJP said they are weapons of war and they should not be on the streets. Literally anything could be a weapon of war. So, I mean, that's a very broad statement. But she said AR-15s are assault weapons. Now I want someone to ask her to define what an assault weapon is. I guarantee you she can't. Said because assault weapons, as far as I know, is not an actual classification of a type of gun. It's a scare term that the left has made up to make things sound worse than they are. They're very good, the left is, at reorganizing words to be either something that sounds a lot worse than it actually is, or something that sounds a lot better than the bad thing it actually is, like gender-affirming care for child mutilation or women's health care for abortion. And in this case, it's the opposite of that, where they're taking something that's good, which is your Second Amendment right, and using bad terminology, assault weapons, to make this sound scarier than it is. So she said weapons of war, these are weapons of war, and they should not be on the streets across the country and in our communities. They should not be in schools. They should not be in grocery stores and should not be in churches. Well, we have a Second Amendment right to them. They should be wherever anybody wants to have them. Like, I'm pretty sure the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed, if I remember correctly, which means you can have them and you can have them anywhere. And as far as I'm concerned, if the law says they shall not be infringed, then that means that anybody can actually own anything that they want to, because you can't make a law against it because that would be infringing. Anyway, article goes on and says that sure sounds like they're going to try to grab guns to me. Sure does. They're not weapons of war. They are normal rifles used safely every day by millions of Americans. But Biden wants to demonize guns and run over the rights of Americans rather than deal with the hard problems of crime and violent deranged people. That's where the thing starts. These folks also seem to think that guns just go out there and just shoot people on their own, that there's not someone behind the trigger. And typically what you find out is that these folks tend to have some other extenuating circumstance. Usually it's a mental health problem. And I'm talking about these ones that commit violent crimes like this. There's some mental health reason for what they're doing. But let's just not ever bring that up. That shouldn't be a thing because they don't want to stigmatize mental health. But it's like, that's the actual problem, is getting these people the help they need. Okay, it's not the gun itself. That's just a tool that they were going to use. And some of these shooters, I'm not just going to narrow it down to this one that carried out the Nashville shooting, but if these people really want to kill somebody, they're going to find a way to do it. Okay. And if you ban guns, first of all, I know this person in particular got all their guns legally that did the Nashville shooting, but even if they didn't, like, they could probably still get them illegally. So all these people trying to take guns, how do you propose the criminals stop getting their weapons? You know, the ones that they're already getting illegally anyway. I haven't heard anything about that. Okay, do you really think that criminals are going to turn in their guns? No, they're looking at a situation where all you're doing. Let me take a step back. What they're doing is going, bad people did a bad thing, so the good people who didn't do anything wrong, which is the beyond overwhelming amount of people who own guns, we're going to make sure that you pay for the crimes of somebody else. That's not a thing that should be happening. Okay? So back to our wonderful unqualified press secretary. So the reporter followed up on that question, detailing just how many AR-15s there are, and noting that some people say there are 25 million of them out there in circulation in the homes of millions of Americans, and therefore you can't ban them. He asked what was Joe Biden's response to that, and she said that's unacceptable. No, it's perfectly acceptable. It's within the law, and you're allowed to do that. She said, that's our response. Okay, well, you can go F yourself because we're allowed to have them. It says, it's unacceptable to the gun grabbers that Americans exercise their rights, but it sure sounds like they want confiscation of having those guns in circulation is unacceptable. It isn't the gun that's unacceptable. It's the Biden administration that is. Yes, I totally agree with that. But how does Biden expect to be able to grab all those millions of guns? And I believe there's actually more guns in the country than there are people. I think there's something like 400 million guns, and our population is probably, 330 million? Like, yeah, exactly how are you going to do this? It'd be like the most dangerous thing anybody could possibly do. Okay? Like, you're going to try to go knock on all these houses of people and be like, yeah, we need to take your guns. Like, you know how many people are going to get killed because of that? Like, that's just not going to be a thing. Okay. So, says, the author of the article says, I would think that's such an unconstitutional action, which it is, wouldn't go over very well. Yep. I would imagine it's not going to. I know Tim Pool always talks about civil war, and this could be one of those things that drives that over the edge. Says, I know they think they rule by fiat, which they certainly do, but we're still a constitutional republic, and every member of Congress should be condemning these words from the White House targeting our rights. Yep, 100% agree with that. That this just shouldn't happen. You have a, well, because it's in the Constitution, it's basically considered a God-given right. You have a right to bear arms, and that right shall not be infringed. So they're trying to take your weapons. Don't give them up. Buy more. The only thing that's gonna stop stuff like this is more guns. Okay, if you look at this particular shooting, this person had other targets in mind and did not go to those targets because they were protected. Okay, they had security, so she went to this one because they didn't. It's these things called gun-free zones. If you look up the statistics about mass shootings, you'll see that almost all of them in the last few years, I'm talking about last time I looked, it was like all but 2 in the last somewhere like 5 to 7 years had happened in areas that were not gun-free zones. Okay, so if someone decides that they want to commit some serious crimes like that, if they want to do it, they're going to look for a place that they know people aren't going to fight back at them. Okay, so it's as simple as that. And to act like, you know, saying you can't have a gun here, and people are just go, okay, guess I can't have a gun here, you know, and just move on with their lives is idiotic to the absolute extreme. So, you know, government, get your shit together. Don't take away our rights. And to everybody, don't give up your guns. Buy more. Buy more guns and ammo. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. Talk to you soon. Bye.